Biden releasing this statement last night that reads in part, no reasonable person who looks at the facts of Hunter's case can reach any other conclusion than Hunter was singled out only because he is my son. And that is wrong. There has been an effort to break Hunter, who has been 5.5 years sober in the face of unrelenting attacks and selective prosecution. In trying to break Hunter, they're trying to break me. Hunter Biden said this, quote, I will never take the clemency I have been given today for granted and will devote the life I have rebuilt to helping those who are still sick and suffering. The pardon covers all offenses committed by Hunter Biden between January 1st, 2014 and December 1st, 2024. It also includes crimes he has yet to be charged with. Joining me now is the New York Post columnist and Fox News contributor, Miranda Devine. Miranda, thanks very much for weighing in on this. And really, that last part of this pardon really got me. The fact that this covers everything. It is a blanket exoneration from the federal gun charges, the drug charges, the money laundering charges from the Oversight Committee, even crimes he has yet to be charged with. It's over. Your reaction?
Absolutely. I mean, this is the most sweeping, the broadest pardon in history ever. Full and unconditional pardon going back 11 years. And of course, we know the significance of that. That covers all the influence peddling that went on in Ukraine that implicates Joe Biden specifically because of the firing of that prosecutor who was investigating the Ukrainian energy company paying Hunter at that stage $1 million a year. So that really is a pardon for Joe Biden. He is preemptively making sure that no investigator can ever get to the bottom of that malfeasance at that time and how he sold out the country during his vice presidency. And look, I mean, I think the only surprising thing about this is that anyone is surprised that Joe Biden is a liar. It is hilarious to hear even now on CNN and MSNBC that they're swallowing the blarney that Joe Biden just decided this on the weekend.
Yeah, I know.
He always intended to pardon Hunter, and we always knew that.
Exactly. I totally agree. They make believe like, oh, yeah, we had a family meeting over the weekend on Thanksgiving. Yeah, right. But look, I want to get your take on what's next, because I spoke with Warren Davidson earlier. Congressman joined me, and he said next up is going to be Joe Biden pardoning his son. I'm sorry, his brother, Jim Biden. So first his son and then his brother, Jim Biden. That's going to make it even more complicated to corner him on this money laundering. Here's Warren Davidson with me earlier in the show. Watch.
Part of it was they didn't want the discovery of Hunter Biden on the stand and being cross-examined. And so I think the other part of the tell will be, does it expand to other members like Jim Biden and Joe Biden himself?
So you think Joe Biden, before he walks out of office, is going to pardon other family members?
Yeah, I think a lot of people will be surprised if he doesn't. And I would assume that he will, just based on the work that the House Oversight Committee's already done. But you never know. I mean, we'll see what it goes. I mean, Joe Biden said he wasn't going to pardon Hunter either. So we'll see where the scope of this goes. But the timing really is interesting.
Miranda, Peter Schweitzer is on Twitter saying, yes, the next pardon is for Jim Biden, Joe Biden's brother. What do you think?
Yes, definitely that will happen. I mean, why wouldn't he? He's already taken the political hit for giving Hunter this broad pardon. So no doubt he'll do the same thing for Jim Biden. Gosh, why not go back 20 years, 40 years? The sky's the limit. Joe Biden has proven that he is basically Teflon in the eyes of CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, the rest of them, who will just pardon him any egregious lie or infraction. This is a man who is so mendacious that it is really very fitting that one of his final acts before he leaves office is to break yet another promise that he made to the American people.
Well, what about all of those people who are sitting in prison right now for trying to protest the election last time for January 6th. You wrote all about this last week, Miranda. I mean, it gets me that with one, swipe of his pen, Joe Biden can erase everything that the Oversight Committee has done regarding Hunter Biden. And yet, in the last 10 years, the attacks on President Trump has been nonstop. And the attacks on Trump supporters have been nonstop, so much so that there are people sitting in jail right now because they went to Washington to try to push back on election 2020. Your reaction?
That's right. I mean, people who were not violent, who walked through an open door, who did nothing more than trespass, even though there were no police or anybody telling them not to do it. And they're languishing in jail. And many of them spent years in jail without trial. This has been cruel and unusual punishment. And I think Hunter Biden's egregious pardon here from his father just paves the way, makes it a lot easier for Donald Trump to pardon these January 6 prisoners, without any pushback.
Unbelievable. Now, do you think Kash Patel will get confirmed? Trump officially nominating Kash Patel for the director of the FBI role to replace Christopher Wray. I spoke with Kash Patel last week on how faith in government agencies can be restored after being weaponized under the Biden administration and the Democrats' rule. Watch this.
Exposure of corruption. Put out the documents, put out the evidence. We only have gotten halfway down the Russiagate hole. The people need to know that their FBI is restored by knowing full well what they did to unlawfully surveil them. The people need to know that there has been a de-weaponization, a defanging of the Department of Justice, and their houses of worship will no longer be raided. But they need to be shown the documents that said this was the reasoning they weaponized justice. And that, in my opinion, is how Congress can most importantly secure the trust or resecure the trust of these agencies and departments.
Miranda, what do you think? Does he get confirmed? And number two, do you think he'll be effective in returning trust to the FBI and DOJ?
Well, he should be confirmed. Donald Trump has earned the right to have the people that he wants in those positions. I guess it takes 4 Republicans to refuse, but there ought to be enormous pressure on them from the Republican side to ensure that they do the right thing and allow the president to have Kash Patel, who will be a breath of fresh air and just the thing that the FBI needs to restore itself. I mean, anyone who cares about the FBI and wants it to continue or at least be restored to a proper a crime-fighting organisation ought to be cheering on Kash Patel. He is not going to be like some of the appointees from Trump's first term and just captive of the establishment. He knows the dark side of these institutions and the dark state, and he will not have the wool pulled over his eyes. He knows exactly where to go to get the information, and he has the courage and the fortitude to ensure the American people get it.
Yeah, we'll see if any Republicans go against. They're in control. They're in the majority in the Senate. So you would think if Republicans are aligned, he gets confirmed. Miranda, great to see you, and thank you so much for your search for the truth always. Thank you.
Thanks, Maria. You too.